In this video, we're going to look at how we can factorize a harder quadratic. And what I mean by a harder quadratic is when you have a number in front of the x squared. In this case, we've got j because you have to be able to use it with any letter, but I can rewrite it as an x if that helps. So there's two ways of doing this. A lot of students are happy to, where we usually do an x and an x here, to make 2x squared, one of these has to have a 2 in front, because that's the only combination we can use to get 2x times x, 2x squared. The 2 could go here, that's absolutely fine. They may be switched, but it's going to be 2x for one and x for the other. And then for 3, there's only 1 and 3, and we could have plus and plus or minus and minus to make positive 3. So we could try each of these combinations and try expanding them and seeing if we get this. Okay, if that doesn't work, we would have to change these around. If that didn't work, I make -3 and -3, or -1 and -3, that way round. Okay, so it's a case of just trying all the possibilities and seeing which one actually gives this -7x when we do our expansion. The 2x squared and the 3 won't change. It's only the middle bit which will change. Okay, so yes, you can do that. However, if this was a 12, it could be 1 and 12, 2 and 6, 3 and 4, both ways round, and the combinations that you have to try start to increase very quickly. So we need another way of doing this which will work for any quadratic, and it looks like this. We take this number and this number, which in the quadratic ax squared bx plus c, we multiply a and c, the number in front of the x squared and the number here, 2 times 3. Okay, that gives us 6. And then we do the factors of 6, like we used to do with the normal quadratics, but instead of doing the 3, we're doing 2 times 3 instead. So 1 and 6, 2 and 3. And I have to try to make -7, just like I used to, but I'm using this pair instead of the factors of 3, which is what I would do if it was just normal x squared. So 1 and 6, that will allow me to get -7. If I do a minus here and a minus here, that will give me -7x. And so I rewrite this expression. I don't touch the 2x squared and the plus 3, but I separate the middle term into these two numbers here, -1x and -6x, like that. All I have done is rewritten this middle term using these two numbers. So -x minus 6x is still -7x. This hasn't changed. I've just written it differently. Okay. Once we've done that, we separate this into two chunks, just down the middle like this. So these two and these two. We're going to factorize them separately. So just these first two terms, I'm going to factorize x brackets 2x minus 1. Okay, and so my bracket 2x minus 1 here and the x in front because they both have an x in there. And then I'm going to do the same for this one. We've got to be careful. I'll show you this in a second. Let's just do this. What goes into both of these? 3 brackets -2x plus 1. Okay, so I have factorized them, but my goal is to create the exact same bracket here. Okay, when you do this correctly, these two brackets will be the same. And because of the presence of the minus here, that's made it a bit more tricky. So I'm going to make this bracket the same because it's meant to be. And so how would that change the 3 to make minus 6x? I'd have to change that to a minus 3 in order to keep this bracket the same. So it is a bit fiddly when we have a minus. Sometimes we have to be aware of this. But if I kept it as plus 3, my brackets would be different. And they're meant to be the same. So you can almost do a 2x minus 1, 2x minus 1 like that, and then see what has to go in front of the brackets. Okay, so one of my brackets will be 2x minus 1, and the other bracket is made up of x minus 3, like that. Okay, so this term goes in here, and this part goes in there to create my second bracket. The one that's repeated becomes 1, and the bit left over becomes the second one. Okay, because of the minus sign, that made that a bit tricky, but let's try another example. These are from the app, so this should be a bit easier because they're both positive. So maybe I should have started with this one. 2x squared, 11x, and 5. Okay, a times c. 2 times 5 is 10. Factors of 10 are 1 and 10, and 2 and 5. I need to make 11, so I'm going to choose 1 and 10, 2x squared, plus 5, and the middle term, I'm going to break it apart into 1x and 10x. It doesn't matter which way round you do this, but I've done x and 10x that way round. Okay, that makes my 11x. I haven't changed this, I've just split them apart. So that when I do my factorising, x, 2x plus 1, and then I factorise this part, 5 brackets 2x plus 1. That was a bit easier. We've got 2x plus 1, and then my second bracket is from x and plus 5, x plus 5, like that. Okay, we didn't have to try any combinations. We just looked at the factors of 2 times 5, and we split it apart, and then we factorise each of the halves separately. Okay.